The massive alien warship hung in Earth's orbit like a dark storm cloud. Commander Rex stood on the bridge, his 4 eyes fixed on the blue planet below. His species had conquered 17 worlds, but something about this one made his scales itch. "Status report," he barked at his science officer. Officer Tom, a tall alien with green scales, rushed forward with a datapad. "Sir, we've intercepted their communications and analyzed their civilization. The humans appear to be a level 3 species with basic space travel capabilities." Rex nodded, his head crest rising with interest. "Military capabilities. Nothing that could challenge our fleet, sir." But Tom hesitated, his scales turning a pale shade of green. "There's something unusual about these humans." "Explain." They keep beasts, sir, dangerous creatures. They live with them, train them, and even sleep in the same dwellings with these monsters." Rex's crest flattened against his head in shock. "Impossible. Show me." The main screen flickered to life, displaying various images from Earth's internet. Rex watched in horror as humans interacted with what his species recognized as deadly pack hunters. The creatures had sharp teeth, powerful jaws, and ran in groups. Even more disturbing, the humans seemed to embrace these beasts, allowing them near their young. "By the ancient suns," Rex whispered, "these humans aren't just primitive. They're insane. To domesticate such creatures." His second-in-command, Officer Bill, stepped forward. "Sir, this could work to our advantage. If they can control such beasts, they must be formidable warriors. But every warrior has a weakness." Rex's eyes narrowed. "Continue." "We could demand their surrender, threatening to destroy their cities. When they refuse, and they will refuse, we demand they release their beast armies against us, their own weapons turned against them. And when these creatures attack," Bill's scales rippled with confidence, "our ships are well protected. No primitive Earth beast could penetrate our defenses, but watching their own weapons fail will break their spirit." Rex considered this plan. It was elegant in its simplicity. The humans would either surrender immediately, or they would witness their most powerful weapons, these tamed monsters, fail against superior technology. Either way, Earth would fall. "Send the message," Rex commanded. "Full broadcast, all frequencies. Let's show these humans what real power looks like." The communications officer worked quickly, preparing the transmission. Soon, Rex's image would be projected to every screen on Earth. He straightened his uniform and raised his head crest to its most impressive height. "Attention, people of Earth," he began, his voice translated into all major human languages. "I am Commander Rex of the Galactic Empire. Your planet stands on the brink of a new era. Surrender now and become part of our glorious empire. Resist and face destruction." He paused for effect, letting his threat sink in. "We know of your beast armies. We have seen how you bend savage creatures to your will. Release them against us, if you dare. Let us see if your primitive weapons can stand against our mighty fleet." The transmission ended, and Rex settled back in his command chair, satisfied. Now they would wait. Either the humans would surrender, or they would foolishly release their beasts. Either way, victory was assured. "Sir," Tom called out nervously, "I'm detecting increased activity on the surface. Multiple gathering points. They appear to be mobilizing their beasts." Rex's scales tingled with anticipation. "Excellent. They choose to resist. Prepare all weapons systems. When their beast army attacks, we will show them the futility of their primitive weapons." The bridge crew worked efficiently, monitoring Earth's surface for any sign of the coming attack. Rex felt a surge of pride. Soon, he would add another world to the Empire's collection, and his name would be remembered as the commander who defeated the infamous beast tamers of Earth. If only he knew what the humans were actually preparing to unleash. "Sir," Bill reported, large gatherings detected in multiple cities. "The beasts are being assembled." "Let them come," Rex declared confidently. We will show these humans that their savage pets are no match for our technology. As the alien fleet waited in orbit, the humans below were indeed preparing something. But it wasn't quite what Commander Rex was expecting. Not at all. General Frank stood in the Pentagon's command center, surrounded by screens displaying the alien transmission. His weathered face remained calm despite the bizarre situation unfolding before him. "Someone explain to me what these aliens are talking about," he demanded, looking at his assembled staff. "What beast armies?" Colonel Mike, the head of intelligence, cleared his throat. "Sir, based on their transmission and our analysis, they seem to be terrified of something we have, but we can't figure out what exactly." The room buzzed with activity as analysts pored over the alien message. Screens showed the massive alien ships hanging over major cities, their dark shapes casting shadows on the clouds below. "Play that transmission again," Frank ordered. The alien commander's scaled face appeared on the main screen, its 4 eyes glowing with what looked like a mixture of fear and determination. As the message about beast armies played again, Lieutenant Jane, a junior officer in the back of the room, suddenly started laughing. Every head turned toward her. She immediately straightened up, trying to compose herself. "Sorry, sir," she said, fighting back a smile. "But I think I know what they're talking about. They mentioned our ability to control savage creatures, right? And how we live with them." "Get to the point, Lieutenant," Frank said. "Sir, they're talking about dogs. Look at these intercepted images from their intelligence gathering." She quickly pulled up several photos on the main screen. They showed people walking their dogs, playing with them in parks, and police canine units in training. A moment of stunned silence fell over the room. "You're telling me," Frank said slowly, "that an advanced alien civilization is threatening to destroy Earth because they're afraid of puppies." "Not just puppies, sir. They seem to be genuinely terrified of all dogs. Their species must have some deep-rooted fear of pack animals." Colonel Mike leaned forward, a glint in his eye. "Sir, this could be exactly what we need. They're expecting us to unleash some kind of terrible weapon. What if we give them exactly what they're asking for?" Before anyone could respond, another transmission from the alien fleet boomed through the speakers. "Humans," Commander Rex's voice thundered. "You have 1 Earth hour to begin deploying your beast armies, or we will start destroying your cities. We know you keep these monsters ready for war. Show us your strength, if you dare." General Frank looked at his staff, then back at Lieutenant Jane. "Lieutenant, get me in touch with every K9 unit in a 100-mile radius. Colonel Mike, contact all nearby animal shelters and pet owners. If these aliens want to see our beast army, we'll give them a show they'll never forget." "Sir," another analyst called out, "the aliens are sending dropships to a location just outside the city. There, they're creating some kind of arena. I think they want us to deploy our weapons there." Frank allowed himself a small smile. "Perfect. Lieutenant Jane, you're now in charge of Operation Good Boy. Get me every friendly dog you can find. Labradors, golden retrievers, German shepherds, especially the puppies." "The puppies, sir." "Psychological warfare, Lieutenant. If they're this scared of dogs, imagine what a bunch of playful puppies will do to their morale." The command center burst into action. As orders went out across the city, Frank watched the alien ships on the monitors. They had no idea what was coming. "Sir," Jane reported, "we have confirmation. Multiple K9 units are en route. The animal shelters are coordinating with us. And sir, someone's bringing their corgi." "Excellent." Frank turned to address the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, in all my years of service, I never thought I'd say this. But let's go show these aliens why dogs are humanity's best friend." Above the Earth, Commander Rex watched his tactical display with growing anticipation. His sensors showed movement across the human city, large groups gathering, transport vehicles moving. Soon, he would witness these terrible beasts in action. He had no idea he was about to face the most adorable army in human history. Lieutenant Jane stood at the designated staging area, surrounded by what had to be the most unusual military gathering in human history. Dozens of police K-9 units lined up alongside family pets, service dogs, and shelter animals. The morning sun shone down on a sea of wagging tails and excited barks. "Status report," General Frank's voice crackled through her radio. "Sir, we have approximately 200 dogs assembled," Jane reported, watching a golden retriever puppy roll in the grass. "The K-9 units are in position, and we got everything from German shepherds to a Pomeranian who really thinks he's tough. Any signs of aggression from our troops?" Jane glanced at a nearby Labrador, who was currently trying to make friends with everyone within licking distance. "No, sir, though we may have some unauthorized belly rub incidents." Above them, the alien ships maintained their threatening position. Their dropships had created a perfect arena-like space in an empty field, clearly visible to their fleet. Metal barriers formed a large circular area where they obviously expected humanity's beast army to demonstrate its ferocity. Colonel Mike approached Jane, holding a tablet. "The aliens are broadcasting again. They want us to begin the demonstration." "Are the cameras in position?" Jane asked. "Yes. Every news network on Earth is ready to broadcast this. The aliens will see everything." Jane nodded and switched on her radio. "All handlers, take your positions. Remember, this is a show of force. Let them do what comes naturally." The handlers lined up along the edge of the alien arena, dogs of all sizes and breeds at their sides. Jane couldn't help but smile at the sight of a tiny corgi waddling importantly between two massive German shepherds. "Sir," she radioed to General Frank, "we're ready to begin Operation Good Boy." "Proceed, Lieutenant. Let's show these aliens what Earth's beasts can do." Jane raised her hand, then dropped it sharply. "Release the hounds." What happened next would go down in both human and alien history books, though for very different reasons. The dogs, finally free to explore the new space, bounded forward with pure joy. The German shepherds, highly trained K-9 units, immediately forgot their training at the sight of so many potential playmates. The Labrador started a game of chase that quickly spread through the entire group. The corgi, not to be outdone, zoomed around in excited circles. Through the cameras, Jane could see the alien ship's reactions. They were scanning frantically, probably trying to understand why Earth's deadliest weapons were engaging in playbows and tail chases. "Lieutenant," Colonel Mike called out, trying not to laugh, "the alien commander is demanding to know what kind of combat exercise this is. Tell them this is how our beasts demonstrate their speed and agility." Jane replied, watching a puppy trip over its own ears. The alien arena, designed to contain savage monsters, had transformed into the world's largest dog park. A St. Bernard had discovered a puddle and was sharing it with anyone who wanted to join in. The Pomeranian had somehow started a howling chorus. "Sir," Jane reported to General Frank, "Phase 1 is complete. Should we proceed with Phase 2? "Do it, Lieutenant. Let's see how they handle the big guns." Jane turned to the waiting handlers. "Release the puppies." A wave of wiggling, stumbling, extremely excited puppies poured into the arena. The adult dogs immediately switched to gentle play mode, letting the little ones climb all over them. The sight of a fierce-looking German shepherd rolling over to let a tiny lab puppy win their play fight was almost too much for the human observers to handle. Through it all, the alien ships continued their frantic scanning, probably trying to understand how these savage beasts could display such behavior. Their confusion was almost palpable. "Lieutenant," Colonel Mike called out, "the alien commander is demanding to know if this is some kind of trick. They want to know where we're hiding the real monsters." Jane watched as a group of puppies discovered the joy of chasing their own tails. "Tell them this is just the warm-up. Wait until they see what happens when someone says walkies." Above them, Commander Rex's ship continued its scans, desperately trying to understand how humanity had managed to turn such fearsome creatures into this display of pure, unbridled joy. They had no idea that the real shock was yet to come. After all, nobody had brought out the treats yet. Commander Rex stared at his view screen in growing horror. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. The dreaded beast army of Earth wasn't performing as any of their intelligence had suggested. Status report. He barked, his scales shifting to a pale green. What are these creatures doing? Officer Tom consulted his instruments, confusion evident in his voice. Sir, they appear to be playing. Our sensors detect no aggressive behavior patterns. In fact, their brain chemistry indicates high levels of happiness. The main screen showed scenes that defied alien comprehension. A massive black and tan beast, which should have been tearing enemies apart, was instead rolling on its back while smaller creatures climbed over it. Another group was engaged in what appeared to be a completely voluntary pursuit exercise, taking turns chasing each other. This must be some kind of trick, Rex declared. No savage beast would behave this way. Scan for control devices. Down on Earth, Lieutenant Jane watched the alien ship's erratic movement with satisfaction. Their sensors were working overtime, sweeping the area again and again. Sir, she reported to General Frank, I think it's time for Phase 3. Permission to deploy the tennis balls. Do it, Lieutenant. Let's give them a real show. Jane turned to her team. Release the toys. Handlers began throwing tennis balls, frisbees, and squeaky toys across the field. The response was immediate and enthusiastic. Dogs of all sizes charged after the toys, their joyful barks echoing across the arena. In his ship, Rex watched in mounting dread as the weapons displayed even more inexplicable behavior. Sir, Officer Bill called out, the beasts are retrieving thrown objects and returning them to the humans. Voluntarily. Impossible. Rex's crest flattened against his head. No predator would. Wait, what's happening now? A new group of smaller creatures had been released into the arena. Puppies, though Rex didn't know that term, tumbled and rolled across the field. Their uncoordinated movements and high-pitched yips sent shivers down alien spines. Sir, Tom reported, his voice shaking, these appear to be juvenile specimens. The humans are. They're allowing their young to interact with them. The screen showed human children, under careful supervision, entering the arena. The aliens watched in terror as the dogs approached the children, then began gently licking their faces while the children laughed. This defies all natural laws, Rex declared. Record everything. The Science Council will need to study this. A particular scene caught his attention. A small, stubby-legged creature with disproportionately large ears was performing what appeared to be a complex jumping ritual while a human tossed treats in its direction. What is D8? Rex demanded. According to Earth data, sir, that's something called a corgi. They were originally bred to herd larger animals. Rex's scales turned almost white. You mean to tell me they created an even smaller beast to control other beasts? Lieutenant Jane's voice crackled through the alien communication channel. Commander Rex, is this demonstration sufficient? Our beasts would be happy to show you more of their capabilities. As if on cue, someone nearby called out, "Who's a good boy?" The reaction was immediate. Every dog in the arena turned toward the sound, tails wagging at maximum velocity. The puppies began an excited dance that the alien sensors couldn't even properly track. Sir, Officer Bill reported, we're detecting some kind of mass response to that verbal signal. It appears to be some form of control phrase. Rex had seen enough. These humans were clearly more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Not only had they tamed these creatures, but they had somehow transformed them into beings of pure joy and loyalty. Prepare a report for High Command, he ordered. Classification: extremely dangerous. Note that the humans have developed some kind of psychological manipulation that can turn apex predators into He gestured helplessly at the screen, where a massive German shepherd was now getting belly rubs from a small child. Down below, Jane watched the alien ship's erratic movements with satisfaction. "Sir," she reported to General Frank, "I think they're getting the message. Should we show them what happens when we bring out the squeaky toys?" "Negative, Lieutenant. I think their minds have been blown enough for one day. Though, maybe just one squeak. For science." The sound of a squeaky toy echoed across the field, followed by the enthusiastic response of 200 dogs. In orbit, the alien ships wobbled noticeably. The alien command ship's emergency council chamber was in chaos. Commander Rex sat at the head of the table while his officers argued over the footage playing on the main screen. A golden retriever catching a frisbee in midair. "This violates every natural law we know," Officer Tom declared, his scales shifting rapidly between colors. "No predator species should behave this way." Officer Bill added, "The humans must have some kind of advanced mind control technology. Look at how they make the beasts sit and stay with just verbal commands." Rex watched as the footage switched to a German shepherd performing tricks for treats. The beast's tail moved in that mysterious side-to-side motion that their scientists still couldn't explain. "What about that strange sound they call barking?" another officer asked. "Is it some kind of war cry?" Before anyone could answer, new footage appeared on the screen. The humans had attached small cameras to some of the beasts, providing first-person views of their activities. The aliens watched in horror as a Labrador bounded through a park, approaching every human and animal with what appeared to be pure friendship. "Stop the footage," Rex commanded. "This is clearly psychological warfare. They're trying to destabilize our minds with these images." Down on Earth, Lieutenant Jane and her team were monitoring the alien reactions with growing amusement. The ship's erratic movements suggested their demonstration was having quite an effect. "Sir," she reported to General Frank, "their sensors are going crazy every time a dog does something friendly. I think we found their weakness. They literally can't process the concept of pets." "Excellent work, Lieutenant. Let's push them over the edge. Initiate Operation Cuddle." Jane grinned and turned to her team. "You heard the General. Bring out the therapy dogs." The aliens watched in confusion as a new group of dogs entered the arena. These ones wore special vests and moved with calm purpose. "Sir," Officer Tom called out, "these appear to be some kind of elite unit. They're wearing uniform markings." Rex leaned forward, expecting to finally see the true warrior beasts. Instead, the cameras showed these elite units calmly approaching humans and providing comfort. "What sort of combat technique is this?" Rex demanded. The footage showed therapy dogs doing what they did best, offering unconditional love and support. A street Bernard gently rested its head on a person's lap. A poodle demonstrated impressive patience as children practiced reading to it. In the council chamber, an officer fainted. "Sir," Bill reported, "our psychological analysis team is requesting a break. They say these images are too overwhelming." Rex couldn't blame them. His own mind was struggling to process what he was seeing. These creatures, which by all natural laws should be perfect killing machines, were instead displaying levels of empathy and emotional intelligence that rivaled advanced civilizations. "Commander," Jane's voice came through their communications, "would your diplomatic team like to meet some of our therapy dogs? They're specially trained to help with stress and anxiety." The entire alien command staff stiffened in their seats. "You want us to meet them?" Rex asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Of course. We find that direct interaction is the best way to understand our canine friends." The word friends sent another officer into a fainting spell. Rex looked at his remaining conscious staff. Their species had conquered worlds, faced terrible dangers, but this was beyond their comprehension. "Lieutenant," he replied, trying to maintain his dignity, "I believe we need to reassess our understanding of your civilization." "Of course, Commander. But just so you know, There's a golden retriever puppy here who's really hoping to make some new alien friends. The image of the puppy appeared on their screen, its tail wagging, Tom lolling out in a happy dog smile. Rex made a decision that would change interstellar relations forever. "Lieutenant," he said, "please keep that creature at least 100 meters from any diplomatic meetings." In the background, they could hear the unmistakable sound of happy barking, causing several more officers to need medical attention. Earth's most powerful weapons, it seemed, weren't its guns or bombs, but rather its ability to turn fearsome predators into loving companions. And that, to the aliens, was the scariest thing of all. The first official diplomatic meeting between Earth and the alien fleet was set to take place in a carefully prepared neutral zone. Both sides had agreed to strict security protocols, though their definitions of security threats differed significantly. Commander Rex and his diplomatic team stood nervously at one end of the conference room, while General Frank led the human delegation from the other side. Lieutenant Jane stood ready nearby, barely containing her amusement at the aliens' constant scanning of the room. "I assure you, Commander," General Frank said, "we have honored your request. No dogs are present in this facility." Rex's scales relaxed slightly. "Very well. Let us proceed with—" A small sound interrupted him, a sort of scratching noise. "What was that?" Officer Tom demanded, all four eyes darting around. "Probably just the building settling," Jane offered helpfully, though she had a suspicion about what was coming. The meeting proceeded for about 5 minutes. Representatives from both sides discussed preliminary terms for peaceful cooperation. Then it happened. A small fuzzy face poked through a partly open door. Short legs, big ears, an impossibly fluffy bottom. "Cordier," Officer Bill screamed, diving under the conference table. The tiny dog, who had escaped from its handler during a nearby pet therapy session, trotted into the room with all the confidence of a creature that had no idea it was causing an interstellar incident. Chaos erupted among the alien delegation. Rex tried to maintain his composure, but his scales were cycling through colors faster than a disco ball. Several officers attempted to climb the walls, despite their species not being particularly well suited for climbing. The corgi, seeing all this exciting new activity, did what any corgi would do. It barked happily and began running in excited circles. "Contain that beast," Rex ordered, now standing on his chair. "Sir," Jane said, fighting to keep a straight face, "this is Max. He's actually our smallest diplomatic incident to date." The corgi, hearing his name, stopped his circles and sat down, tilting his head at the aliens. His stubby tail worked overtime, creating what the alien sensors would later describe as localized happiness waves. "That's your smallest?" Tom asked from his perch atop a filing cabinet. "But it has the ear-to-body ratio of a supreme predator." Max, deciding these new friends needed to be properly greeted, began doing his signature corgi waddle toward the alien delegation. "Keep it back," Rex commanded. "We can see it's... What are those?" "Those are just his little legs, Commander," Jane explained. "They're built that way on purpose. He's a herding dog." The alien's terror doubled. "You mean you specifically engineered it to control other beasts?" Max reached the alien's side of the room and flopped onto his back, exposing his belly in the universal dog signal for "Please give pets." The human delegation watched as the mighty alien commander, conqueror of 17 worlds, pressed himself against the wall to avoid the tiny dog's friendly overture. "Perhaps," General Frank suggested diplomatically, "we should take a brief recess." "Agreed," Rex said quickly. "We clearly need to reassess our security protocols." Just then, Max did something that would be recorded in both human and alien historical documents. He gave a tiny borf of happiness. 3 alien officers fainted on the spot. Jane finally took pity on them and called Max to her side. The corgi immediately trotted over, still radiating joy from every stubby inch of his body. "I apologize for the breach in protocol," General Frank said. Though I hope this demonstrates that our beasts are really nothing to fear. Rex, slowly descending from his chair, tried to regain his dignity. Your species' ability to turn apex predators into whatever that is precisely what we fear, General. Max, now sitting proudly beside Jane, continued to beam happiness at everyone in the room. His very existence seemed to challenge everything the aliens thought they knew about the natural order of the universe. Perhaps, Jane suggested, we could schedule a controlled interaction. Max here is actually one of our gentlest diplomatic officers. The aliens stared at the Corgi, who responded with another happy "Borf." We'll need to consult with High Command, Rex said weakly, and possibly revise our entire understanding of the cosmos. As the aliens filed out of the room, Max gave a farewell tail wag that sent 2 more officers to the medical bay. Humanity's secret weapon, it seemed, wasn't firepower or technology. It was roughly 30 pounds of pure Corgi charm. 2 weeks after the Corgi incident, as it became known in diplomatic circles, the final peace treaty negotiations were underway. The location, a specially designed conference room with a reinforced glass wall separating the alien delegation from what they still insisted on calling the Beast Zone. Commander Rex sat rigidly in his chair, trying not to look at the other side of the glass, where several dogs lounged peacefully on cushions. The sight of deadly predators choosing to nap in the sun still disturbed him deeply. "Let us review the terms," General Frank said, shuffling his papers. "First, the Galactic Empire recognizes Earth's sovereign status and agrees to non-interference." "Agreed," Rex replied, flinching as a golden retriever yawned on the other side of the glass. "Those teeth." Lieutenant Jane, now officially Earth's Beast Relations Officer, continued reading. "Second, Earth will be classified as a protected planet under the designation the World of Beast Tamers. A necessary warning to others," Officer Tom muttered, watching a German shepherd play gently with a tennis ball. "Third," Jane continued, "Earth agrees not to deploy any canine units in space without prior notification and consent." "Absolutely essential," Rex insisted. The panic that would ensue if one of those creatures appeared on a space station. The negotiations continued smoothly until they reached the final point. Rex cleared his throat nervously. "About the cultural exchange program you proposed." "Ah, yes," General Frank smiled. "We believe it would be beneficial for both societies to learn from each other, starting with understanding our relationship with dogs." The alien delegation shifted uncomfortably. Through the glass, Max, the Corgi, had woken from his nap and was doing his best to look adorable at the aliens. "We have reviewed your proposal," Rex said carefully. "Our psychological experts suggest starting with pictures, from a safe distance, perhaps paintings to begin with, then gradually working up to photographs." "Of course," Jane agreed, trying not to smile as Max did a little play bow. "We can start with the less intimidating breeds, like Chihuahuas." "Are those the tiny aggressive ones?" Officer Bill asked, then quickly added, "Not that we've been studying Earth dogs extensively or anything." "Speaking of studies," Rex said, his scales shifting to a scholarly shade of green, "our Science Council has a theory about humans. We believe your species' ability to transform predators into companions indicates some form of advanced psychological power." Through the glass, a Labrador was teaching a puppy how to play fetch, completely undermining the alien's image of savage beasts. "That's why we're classifying humans as a level 5 civilization," Rex continued. "Any species that can turn apex predators into creatures that—" He paused as the puppy got distracted by its own tail. "That must be handled with extreme caution." General Frank signed the last document. "Then we're in agreement. Peace between our peoples, cultural exchange at a comfortable pace, and Earth's status as a protected world." "Just one final question," Rex said. "Those small devices your people carry, the ones that make the beasts appear on command." "You mean smartphones with dog videos?" "Yes." "Are they classified as weapons?" Jane couldn't help herself. "Would you like to see some cute puppy videos, Commander?" The alien delegation's unified step backward answered that question. As the treaty signing concluded, Max gave a farewell borf through the glass, sending the alien medical team into high alert once again. Later that day, as the alien fleet prepared to depart, Rex made his final log entry. Earth status report. Planet classified as extremely dangerous. Inhabitants possess unknown power to transform deadly predators into what they call good boys and good girls. Most disturbing of all, they appear to genuinely love these creatures, and the creatures love them back. Recommendation: no further invasion attempts. Ever. As the ships disappeared into hyperspace, Lieutenant Jane looked down at Max, who was proudly wearing his new Intergalactic Peace Ambassador collar. "Well, boy, you just helped save Earth by being yourself." Max responded with another happy borf, completely unaware that his very existence had rewritten the laws of the cosmos in the aliens' minds. In the end, humanity's greatest defense wasn't its technology or its weapons, but its ability to make friends with the things other species feared most. That, and lots of belly rubs.